All right, let's talk commodities now with Dumebi Iyeke, one of the research analysts with Financial Derivatives Company. Hello, Dumebi. Good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, well, I guess it seems the talk around Nigeria now is all about this Twitter thing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to know how much, the country is actually losing every hour, 100 million. And when you look at monthly, we talk about 75 to 100 billion.
That's a big number.
Yeah.
You see, I can't even say anything.
I mean, Twitter right now has become like a hub for a lot of Nigerians. There are a lot of young Nigerians that have, gotten jobs through Twitter. A lot of them are doing business through Twitter. A lot of them are influencing through Twitter. So there's so much happening on Twitter that with this shock to the Twitter space, and not just only Twitter space, to social media, there is so much ruckus happening. So right now, the fact that there's a Twitter ban, young people, which is a large chunk of Nigeria's population, are largely affected. And the question now is, or the question on the minds of every young person, is this indefinite? How much of this can we really take? Because there's so many risks. There's the fact that this particular sect of Nigeria's population that is active on Twitter is about 40 million users. And every day there is some tweet, people are enjoying themselves with Twitter, making money off Twitter. And now that this has happened, their market access is completely shut down. So SMEs that are benefiting from Twitter are having to deal with this, are not taking this lightly. So it's a huge shock to their business. And remember, there's already high unemployment rate.
Absolutely. And this is a country that is talking about, lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty.
Exactly. So right now, imagine a situation where we're trying to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty, and about 40 million now, you've sent them back. Wow. So there is that huge shock. And then also, Twitter has become a perfect market for information. So there's huge access to information at no cost. So now there is the risk of consumers being exploited, because now there will be information asymmetry. There's so many things that a lot of people find out from Twitter. There are a lot of things, for example, there's so many young people, oh, I just got a job, or I was told to come come to this particular area. Oh, what do you, Twitter fam, oh, what do you think about this? And then you hear so many people coming about it, there's so much information that people get through Twitter. Now that access is gone. Then you also have the fact that there is Twitter is the active usage of Twitter in Nigeria, has been able to give investors some, hint as to Nigeria's evolving technology and e-commerce space. With this, investors are skeptical. And remember, Nigeria needs as much investment as it can get.
But still, counting the cost here, what is Twitter itself losing right now?
I mean, for Twitter, Twitter is a global thing.
Exactly.
So Nigeria is a huge market, yes, one of the biggest markets for Twitter in Africa.
But Nigeria is just a minute
exactly.
market.
But Nigeria is just a fragment of the entire world. So the truth is, we stand more to lose than Twitter. And also remember that it's not just about the government, it's about the consumers. The consumers are at the receiving end of this Twitter ban. The young people are at the receiving end of this Twitter ban. And they make the highest percentage of unemployment rates in Nigeria. Youth unemployment right now is about 45%. Imagine with the Twitter ban right now, it could skyrocket about 50 to 57%. Now, if these people are unemployed, the question is, what will they be doing?
And
there is the high risk of crime.
Absolutely, I was coming in. That would now heighten the insecurity situation that we are already and trying to deal with. Okay, so looking at this whole thing now, let's bring it now down to, the commodities market space. How will this affect it?
So the quick look at this is business. The entrepreneurs that are losing money with the fact that Twitter is banned right now. So there is the fact that these people, let's just look at the chain reaction. So you have an individual who makes about 10,000 naira every day from Twitter. make the 10,000 naira, you use it to buy foodstuff, use it to pay. From there, you're going to have to buy fuel. Let's just say this individual has a car. You buy fuel for your car. You buy fuel for your generator. You save just a little chunk because, I mean, there's really almost nothing to save. But if you look at 10,000 naira every day for 7 days a week, that's 70,000 naira. So you have this individual that would make 17,000 naira every week. Now is short of 70,000 naira.
Wow.
So there is no money to buy foodstuff. There is no money to buy. So the market woman who would have received that 500 naira or received that 1,000 naira has lost a customer.
There's a ripple effect.
So there's a ripple effect. Yeah. So this and the truth of the matter, once there is low demand, low aggregate demand, we will definitely see that impact on food prices. We'll see that impact on inflation.
Do you think the federal government will be pressured?
The truth is this. There's definitely going to be some pressure from the international community. We've seen CNN talk about this. We've seen the U.S. Embassy make some comments. So there is some pressure, but we just have to keep our fingers. No one really knows what step the government is going to take. But at the end of the day, we cannot overlook the fact that the consumers are at the receiving end of this. Why? Because these are the most important people right now.
Yeah, so, and that brings us to the fact that, in policy making, you have to consider the pros and the cons.
Exactly.
So if you think that when you take a decision and that decision is going to have more negative impact, I think it's important that you look back and think through, that same
policy making requires
decision.
Balance, a lot of balance, yes.
Okay, so before we look at the global oil market, let's look at what's happening in Ekiti State, where the government has returned to 18,000 minimum wage and slashed the salaries of the executives by 25% for the next 3 months. What do you see to be the implication of this, and how will it affect the price of commodities, particularly, I guess, in that state?
Oh, yeah.
So the first thing is this. This definitely points to the fact that there's a revenue gap. So this means that this state or some other states of the country don't have enough to fund their state. They don't have enough to pay salaries. They don't have enough to feed the people within that state. So clearly there has to be, this state has to look inwards. How can we internally generate revenue? How can we make enough to pay the people that work in this state and also increase the revenue for this state? So clearly there's a revenue gap. And now with the slash in salaries, and this just simply means that there is less aggregate demand or consumer demand within the state is going to reduce. And this is going to have a ripple effect on commodity prices within the state. So we could see prices increase.
All right. Brent is currently above $70 per barrel. Some analysts actually believe this bull market might be over right now.
I mean, we've seen the oil market is a very sentimental market. So once there's any news, once there's any information, we see the oil market react, either positively or negatively. By the end of the day, with Brent at $70 per barrel, Nigeria still stands to gain in terms of revenue. So we could see oil revenues receive increase. And remember that Nigeria's oil production quota, has also been eased. So we could, with the increase in oil production, increase in oil prices, or oil prices trading at $70 per barrel, Nigeria still stands to gain in terms of revenue. And this could help to fund the budget deficit, the 2021 budget deficit.
But some still say that.
Well, even as we're seeing the Brent, climbing over $70.
Yes.
And in fact, the WTI actually went about $70 for the first time. Yeah, but that we haven't seen much of impact of that on our forex market in terms of liquidity.
Yes. So the truth of the matter is that there's so many things that play out in Nigeria's foreign exchange market apart from revenue from oil. There's so many other factors to look at. There's export earnings from cocoa. There's export earnings from sesame seeds. There is, there's so many things. There's diaspora remittances. So all of this factor play out in our external reserves, which is used, to fund, or with the CBN uses to intervene rather in the forex market. And the truth of the matter is this. with Brent to $70 per barrel, even though this is good news, you know, for government revenue and how that this could, you know, have some ripple effect or have some ripple effect or benefit in the forex market, we have to remember where the consumer stands to gain or stands to lose. And with Brent to $70 per barrel, we are looking at a potential increase in the PMS price again. The question now is, how much more can the average Nigerian take?
Well, in other news, price of onions.
That's another one.
That's another one.
You know, some time ago, we were talking about onions being the new gold.
The new gold.
Are we going to see that cycle
Even more than
again?
gold this time.
Particularly this way. I mean, if we are talking about, you know, not bringing or shipping the onion to the south, just wondering what's going to happen.
I mean, to answer your question about onions being the new gold, if it's going to be the new gold again, it's people in the south that would have that testimony, so to say. Right. The truth is this, with Opman making this decision, definitely we will see it, you know, reflect in the price of onions. Onions is a, you know, widely consumed condiment. We use it for stew. We use it for eforiro. We use it to garnish our chicken. We use it to cook our meat. There's so many things we use onions for, plus the health benefits. So that's why, and the fact that a lot of people are also, you know, being very conscious about their health. And onions is a main, you know, it's a major a condiment for your healthy diet. So we definitely would see an increase in the price of onions. I mean, right now the price of onions per bag is already increased to 27,000. So if this decision by Opman lingers, we could see the price of onions, you know, increase about 30,000, 40,000.
Maybe a shift to garlic.
I don't know how that's going to be.
Absolutely, likes garlic.
No
and,
way.
You know, people might not really see it as a substitute. So
Absolutely,
to say.
It can never be a substitute. Not for me.
I like garlic.
No. Anyway, of course, it's not just onion that we're talking about here. We're talking about tomato. We're talking about pepper, and what's the other one? The tatashe and all that. So all of those, we're seeing their prices you know, go up. Anyway, let's look at Dangote's fertilizer plant that has commenced operations. I guess that's good news.
That's some good news.
Yes. So how will this impact government revenue? You know, and of course, I guess there might just be some kind of potential risks there.
Yes, so the Dangote fertilizer plant has kicked off operations, which is good news in terms of forex revenue for the government. The estimated revenue is about $1.2 billion annually, and if the operations, you know, are very effective and efficient, we could even see revenue for the government increase. So this is good news. The potential risk is this: with insecurity rising, we know that fertilizers could also be used to create bombs. So with insecurity rising, there is that concern, there is that fear. If, you know, fertilizers could now, you know, be used for the creation of bombs, well, we'll just keep our fingers crossed and hope it never gets to that.
It will not get to that. Dumebi, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure having you on. Well, we'll still have more time with you this week, and that should be on Thursday.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment.